Hey there, how's it going? Oh.
Hi, Diana.
Hey there, how's it going? Hi, Mayuri.
Hi, Diana.
Sorry.
Hi, my long haulers, those of you who spend all day with me on Fridays.
Hey, Diana. I just wanted
Yeah.
to let you know I will be in and out today because my daughter's actually got her first ever softball game for DP as a
Oh,
freshman.
wonderful.
So I'll have to leave. I guess I'll probably leave around 3 and shoot off to it. So
How exciting. My son's at Santa Barbara High School, and they had to cancel their first varsity game. I don't know why. They said something about health reasons. I wonder if someone came back with a positive news, but yeah.
which sport was that?
If it's soccer.
Oh, I heard something about. I thought there was one cancelled because of a COVID case, but I don't know if it was soccer. I thought it was football, but
maybe it's football. You're right. See, maybe it was football. I thought it was soccer, but maybe it was football. I just read the message really quickly today. It's not. Since my kid isn't in it, I didn't pay as much attention to
yeah,
that.
I know. I hear you there.
Thousands of emails every day. Now that I don't know if the rest of you know, but obviously our kids have gone back to school as of yesterday.
Yeah,
And
same
so in preparation for them to go back to school, we've been getting like 10 emails a day for 2 weeks now with rules and things and stuff we need to do and not do. I mean, it's just like crazy. I'm exaggerating only a little bit. So as soon as it doesn't apply to your kids, you look the other way, right? So I saw that somehow one of the big games got canceled today, and I guess it was football, maybe not soccer, but everyone was looking forward to it. Hi, everyone.
Diana, would you like me to log into the bridge and InDesign?
Yes, now when we're saying hi and walking in and getting together, this is the time to definitely be opening up. Hi, Alan, to be opening up Bridge.
Okay.
InDesign. Let's start with InDesign this time. See if we can get that working. I was just testing it. I just came in from being in
There's in the properties panel group here, release the mouse button.
is that someone?
Sorry.
Oh, a little video. That's
Sorry,
fine.
I shut it off.
No, that's fine. We have I've tested InDesign. I talked to the people about what wasn't working last week. It wasn't working when I tested it with them. They said they were gonna see what they could do. They never got back to me, but I tested it today and it's working. So crossing all my fingers, I have plan A and plan B of where we're gonna go today. Because I can always show you in my InDesign the work, but then people who are on VDI can't follow, which is why the other day when someone said, well, let's just show me this in InDesign, but then there's a huge portion of students who are in VDI. And if they can't do it because InDesign is not working, then half the class can't do the work. And that's my hesitation. If we get to the point where InDesign truly doesn't work, then I'd be willing to show A and B or something at some point. But they said that they were going to work on it. I hesitate since they didn't get back to me to know how much they fixed it or if it just happens to be working today. Someone in Photoshop today, their Photoshop wasn't working and they restarted and then it worked. So I don't know what's going on in the systems, but hopefully by now you're all opening your VDI and you're opening your Adobe Bridge and your Adobe InDesign to start with. Because I want to see, and then a Photoshop, of course, because that's where we left the flyer that we were doing last week. We left it in Photoshop. So go ahead and open Photoshop as well. And we're going to try to start with InDesign since we didn't do a design last week. And then bring things in from Photoshop. And if that works, then that's good. So just as a reminder to everyone, there is no class next week. The whole school is closed. So make sure to not come to any of your classes if you have a class that the school is closed. That said, I will be teaching because we're running one program in particular, which is a back to work program that's being taught for some people, a special group of people. And I want to advertise it because I think this cohort is full, but it might not be full yet. But just if you know anyone who at this point lost their job, is needing a job, needs to be retrained, we are running some back to work programs in 3 branches. Green gardener, construction, and I don't remember what the other one is, but it involves computer and office programs. But I'm actually involved in the green gardener program where I'm teaching an apps, run your business from your phone, kind of your landscaping business from your phone. But anyway, if you are know of anyone who is involved, who happens to be at this point out of a job, who would like to be retrained, not only are you getting all these programs for free, but they're paying you to be in it. They're paying people to be in these in this program. And if they need childcare, they're paying for childcare. So it's a program funded by the CARES Act to get people back to work. And they give you support, they train you. It's not just training you in the programs and stuff, but they also give you a lot of they're taking professional development courses, resume, applying for jobs. They're getting a whole ton of support. So that's all as a slight introduction to the fact that you might have gotten an email, if you check your pipeline email, talking about if you are have any clothes that it's in good shape that people could use for work, for interviews. They're doing there's going to be a drive for work or clothes in good condition at the Wake Center. So check your pipeline for the details, and if you're doing a cleaning out of your closets or your garage or something and want to put your stuff towards some good service, it's going to our students that we are doing the back to work program.
So is that happening next week, or is starting next week?
I talked about the program, the back to work program. I talked about the clothes drive. Back to work program already started this week. But let me see. You got to keep an eye on your emails because we got an
Can you send that
email.
information so I can give it to my friend, Diana?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find, I'm going to forward you guys the email. If you guys go to your pipeline and write back to work in the search, there was a lot of emails coming out to you 2 to 3 weeks ago when this all started about the back to work program. Otherwise, I'm downloading a flyer here from one of those emails, and I'll see if I can send it to you guys. So who just asked me? Patricia?
Patricia. Yeah, I talked to my friend and she was interested.
And was it Mayuri? Did you say that
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just sending it to you two guys right now, just because you asked me, but I'll try to make sure to. I don't know if they're accepting people in this one, but they're gonna run it again. So anyway, I just forwarded that to you two guys, and later you can ask me if someone else, I think someone else asked me. Oh, I see in the personal.
Teacher.
Okay. Hold on. There we go. So I'm sending it to 3 of you guys in your pipeline check.
Thank you.
It's 32 hours of training. Ooh, someone's dog. You mute yourself. Childcare, job placement assistant. They lend you materials, stuff like that. Okay. So I sent you the flyers. Any more information that you want, let me know, and I'll send it to you. No, that's it for now. Okay, so but I sent it. I don't have here. I'm in the pipeline version. I don't have your personal email, so you have to check your pipelines. Those of you for whom I just sent that.
Okay.
So what was someone was trying to ask me something?
Yeah, it was me. Do you know the email from the sender? Because I think I received one. I'm sorry for the puppy.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not sure if it's like the correct email because it's marked, it's like in spam.
Okay, I'm gonna do a silencing everyone because there's a dog howling in the background from someone. I think it's a dog or a kid. And now those of you who need to speak to me, like Veronica, you're speaking, can you unmute yourself again to speak because I couldn't hear you through the noise. So can you unmute yourself, Veronica, again? Because you were speaking to me and I had to mute everyone and I couldn't choose. Say again what your question was.
Okay, do you know the email from the sender? Because I received one, but I'm not here is like a spam, and I just want to make sure.
Oh, well, I I don't, I think it just, I don't know. I don't have my email where, who it comes from is, I don't know who the general email comes from, but I do know the people, some of the people recruiting are either Emma Cruz. I just put her email in there. I don't, if you write to selladmissions@sbcc.edu, then there you have, you can ask them. Let me see the flyer.
I see an email from Emma
Um,
Cruz in my email.
The email says, and okay, I see now the email. It's from Erin Coulter, ED Coulter. That's one of the flyer, but there's been so many emails that came from Jeanette, so many people that the one I'm picking up from, but it does say to text NCSSS. Here it is. Okay, so I'm putting it in here. You guys copy it. It says email so NC for non-credit, SSS, I don't know what that stands for, sbcc.edu. Or call 805-898-8160. So those last two are those things that the flyer says. Oh, contact tracer, office admin support. They're also training contact tracers for COVID. That's the third one. So there's green personal care attendant, green gardener, construction technology, and contact tracer. So there's 4 of them. Personal care attendant, green gardener, and construction technology are happening right now. Maybe if there's space, you can still join. I don't know. And the one that they're still setting up is the contact tracer. So and then they're going to be redoing these. So there you go. I'll send this to you too, Veronica, just in case, but there you go. Okay. Veronica G, what's your last name?
Galicia.
Okay, there I found you on Pipeline and I just forwarded you this for you. Okay, there we go. So hopefully this is helpful for people, for yourselves or people you know. And that's one good thing of all this money that's coming. We can't, for the colleges, is that they're there to be used particularly to help through COVID. And so college is thinking about how can we help students? And this is one of the many projects. And just so you know, also, every week, 2 or 3 times a week, there's a food, there's in the main campus, the one on Cliff Drive, there's a food distribution program where you just show up and they give you boxes of fresh, healthy food. So take advantage of all these things or tell people about it. All right. So any other questions you have with us, please email me. I'll forward you all the information I have, or the one who knows all about it, because she's coordinating a lot of this is Emma. She's coordinating the teachers at least so that she can help with all of that. And that's the email I gave you. All right. Hi, Digital Design Techniques students who are now all here and set up and hopefully connected to Bridge and to InDesign and Photoshop, but at the very least InDesign and Bridge. Nice to see you. I have, if you are, just as a reminder, if you are on VDI, make sure to have signed out of the Google Drive file stream and sign in again. So if you signed out at the end of last class, now you need to sign in. But if you didn't, because you left early and you didn't follow the whole process with me, then remember, and I'm going to share my screen just to remind you, that how to do that would be to, when you sign into VDI, you go to this little triangle way down here. My mouse is moving way in the bottom right corner. Click on your Google icon, go to your preferences, to your settings, and then your preferences, and then disconnect your account if it hasn't been disconnected since last week. And then once you disconnect, then you have to sign in again. If you disconnected at the end of last week, then today when you signed into VDI, you were asked to sign into Pipeline, so that's fine. But if you didn't disconnect, you need to disconnect and sign in again. That's to make sure that all the files that we're going to open work well. Okay. All right. So when I do this, sometimes I lose you guys. I need to bring you back in. Here we go. I have 3 monitors in front of me. And sometimes when I begin sharing, the one where I see you guys disappears and to the 3rd monitor way there, and I had to bring over here so I can keep talking to you looking this way. All right. So we were using Photoshop to do a few things that I wanted to do in InDesign. So first, let's see how InDesign is doing, and then we can see whether we continue that in Photoshop or if we move into InDesign. So head over to InDesign, which, since we don't have any files opened on it right now, it should be just kind of floating. See how you see bridge behind it? It's kind of confusing. So anytime you open a program for the first time, go to the top right and click on this little maximize button to have it fill your screen. And in the Mac, if you guys are working at home on the Mac, it's the other way around. It's here on the left side. Instead of having this little logo, you'll have 3 little colored buttons, and it's the green one that maximizes your screen. And then you shift between programs by going to the taskbar or to your dock on the Mac, and always filling their screens. When you're doing this, as far as if you're doing this in with these programs that have so much going on that you want to make sure to have it maximized, this is the best way to get your use out of it. Okay, so if you haven't found yet your files in Bridge, and you might be there from last week, but in case you're not, or especially if you had to re-sign into Google, then from Bridge, hit this PC. And then from this PC, go find your Google Drive and double click your Google Drive. Find your shared drives, double click your shared drives. Find, if you're in this class, you'll only have 1 folder called Digital Design Techniques. If you're a few of them, you'll have a few of them. Double click on class files on Digital Design Techniques, and then we're going to go into class files. Double click. Now, I have some files here that are for everyone who's on VDI, but I forgot to say from at the beginning, I'd like all of you guys who are not on VDI to download some new stuff. But first, let's see if InDesign is working. But meanwhile, if in the background, if you see I'm explaining stuff, open up a browser, go into your Google Drive, and in the class digital files for Digital Design Techniques, there's a thing called New Downloads. And in there, I have all of these files, and I'd like you guys to download that. If you know how to do that on your own, that's fine. If you don't know how to do that, that's also fine. Just I'll come and help you. For now, I just wanted to make sure that everyone got here. Let's open InDesign without an existing file and just test to see if the crucial tools are working. And if it's working, then we'll dive straight into this. So head over to InDesign, and I'm really asking people in VDI because I'm assuming at home it's working. And go ahead and say create new. And say yes to whatever. I'm just trying to test. If this works, we'll move in. So I want to test not only me though, but you, because if it works for me and not for you, it still won't work. So say create. So whatever is getting created is good enough. All I want us to do is to place something. This is what we tried to do last week, and we got stuck in that it wasn't working. So I'll explain more later. Just right now, just go to File, Place. And then from here, it's telling us where's our stuff. Our stuff is in Google Drive for those of us in VDI. Shared drives, digital design techniques, class files. So we're always going into that same spot, right? And then from here, I want you guys to go into the new download. Oh, that's praying in. 2 more people in, okay. And then see if you can click on this word Mexico. And I'm going to redo this, but I'm just wanting to test this, and I'm just going to drag this little box open. Okay, so this is the crucial moment where I'm going to test it. If I lost you, that's okay. Can I move this? Yes, I can. Today I can. Can I open this? Yes, I can. Can I click? Yes, I can. So all the stuff that wasn't working last week is working today. So I'm satisfied for me. Now I want to make sure that you guys are doing it. So if you manage to get a file opened, say file place. This is really for VDI people for whom the system wasn't working at home. Hopefully this is working. I'm not going to work with this file, so don't bother unless you just want to get practice. So once again, for everyone who got VDI, go to Google Drive, shared drives, digital design techniques. Okay, so you guys have to really by now learn this process, like the system where you find our files, and then class files. Inside of that, I went to new downloads, and I any of these 3, which are JPEGs, click on that and say open. And then you have a photograph hanging there, and if you click and drag, make a little box for that size, and then just, this is what wasn't working the other day. Put your mouse inside and move it. If that works, then that's good. That's really the big test. Okay, we're actually going to work with this file today and some other files, but I just want to make sure that it's working. So now I need some feedback from you guys. Veronica says error encountered while reading JPEG image, maybe damaged or incompatible. Veronica, did you reset your pipeline drive today? Because that's the typical mistake that happens when this
Yeah.
doesn't get reset up.
Yeah, I just reopened it, everything.
Okay, can you share your screen? Let me see how I can help you. Hi, Maylee, thanks for joining us. And someone else just showed up too. I was sharing.
Yeah,
Hi, you all.
yeah. She let us out early. Don't believe you.
Okay, who else? Okay, so you went in there, you went in there, you open another one. Okay. Okay, open a different one then instead of that one, say place and open another one of those. Just Prague, yeah. Okay, say okay to that. Now let's go and reset your, go to that little arrow and reset your Google Drive. No, not there, above, no, kind of where you were, way down there, but a little bit higher up. So now, yeah, that one. Go to Google Drive is one under, nope, that one, yeah, click on that one. Go up to the gears, the settings. Yeah. Say preference. No, don't quit. Preferences. Yeah. Disconnect account. Sometimes when I'm done with class, I hear my students go, my kids go, wow, you yelled at them. I'm like, no, whenever I yell, it's only because I'm trying to stop him for a second to do something. It's not that I'm yelling, but in the house, they kind of hear me going, no. I just thought I did that to you. Sorry, Veronica. All right, say next. And once it says you're in, let's try to place that again. Okay, so go and do that one more time. I hopefully you don't need to reset. I say file place. Yeah, you got to close this box that's in your way. So go click on that. Yeah. Okay, let's try one more time, the Mexico. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so remember, that's pretty crucial. You need to reset your pipeline Google Drive, or you get that message that the files are corrupted, okay? All right,
Diana,
that seems to be working, so yay, that's good news. Yes?
thank you.
Were
You're
we
welcome.
opening a new document in InDesign to open the photo?
Yeah. As long as I have 2 or 3 people who say it's worked, then I'm assuming it's working for everyone. So I don't want you to do these steps.
Oh.
2 or 3 people have already tested it and it's working. Just Justine?
Yeah, I've got InDesign looks like it's open, but it's just a blank black screen. It's not showing anything in the.
Okay, show me your screen, share your screen with me. Otherwise, Francis, meanwhile, if you want to test, yeah, open InDesign and then just create any new, I don't care what, new document, and then try to
Oh.
play something. That's all we're testing. It's just to
Okay,
see
I
if
just
things
wanted to
work.
check where
Okay.
you wanted us to be. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so someone has kids in the background. Can you please turn off your sound? I love kids, but I just don't want to hear them or I can't speak. Okay, so Justine, you're getting InDesign and nothing is happening. Go and try save file new, go up to file and say if it works, even though it's not showing you your beginning. Say file open new, yeah, document. Huh. No.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just being super slow to respond.
Yeah,
or-
are the others working? Is Photoshop and Bridge
yeah,
working?
Photoshop is open and looking
And
normal.
Bridge is opening and design. So why don't you close InDesign and restart it one more,
Okay.
like get rid of it and
And
reopen
so
it.
to do that, I just click this
Click
little
that.
X.
Yeah, that's all you need to do.
Trying to make sure there wasn't some other.
Yeah,
step we had to go
and
through.
now go back and
Um,
open from there and let's wait it out and see. And if not, you might need to exit VDI and come back in. But if you do exit VDI and come back in, that should keep your Photoshop and your Bridge open. You know what I mean? So it should work that you don't have to reset everything. We'll see. But
Oh.
let's see if InDesign open. So it's harder for it to work when you're sharing. So I'm gonna stop your sharing. Keep me informed of what's happening.
okay.
I don't want to progress too far if it
Oh.
doesn't work for you, but
Yeah, no, it now it's looking.
it's working now. Okay.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
you guys, the reason I had to do that with everyone here is because sometimes with VDI, I find that just restarting the program, things kind of fix themselves. Okay. So 2 people already went, oh, it's working now. And this morning, I think for Patricia, with Photoshop wasn't working and you restarted and it started working. So yeah, consider that if I'm not around and something's not working, the first thing I would say was like, well, let's just restart. Not when not when like a tool isn't working. Not when you're getting something wrong as in doing something, but if the program itself doesn't seem to be responding. Okay. I see, it seems to me that enough people are saying that it's working. So I'm going to assume that everything is fine for everyone. And we're going to get rid of this file for those of you who did it and start for real. So let's click those of us who made this to test. And do we save changes? Say no. So what I did is I clicked on this little X here next to the entitled to get rid of this one document. I don't want to get rid of
Can you show
InDesign.
your screen?
Save changes and
Nope.
say
No,
no.
we're not, we can't.
You're
What
not
doing.
screen sharing.
Oh,
Deanna.
sorry.
We
thank
see
you
your
for-
lovely face, but we don't see your
Aw.
screen.
Thank you for the lovely face part of it. You work with what you got. All right. So here we go. I go to my third screen to look for you guys again whenever I share. There we go. So all I was saying is if you had something open, because I had made you create something. So let me just, I closed it when you guys weren't watching. When you have a file open, the one that I had brought something in, just go over to where it says untitled and just click on this little box to close it without closing InDesign. It'll say, do you want to save? Say no. And then you'll be back at 0. And what we want to do is we want to create a document now where we're going to make a postcard. I'm going to I know in Photoshop, by the way, we were working on this file. I'm going to hold off on continuing. I don't want to give this one up for finished because I do want to finish this project with you guys, but I want to do a similar project in InDesign the way it was supposed to be done. And if it works and it's so a different one, then we can go back and complete this one in InDesign, okay? And if for any reason InDesign isn't working, then we'll complete it in Photoshop, all right? So, so for now, in InDesign, what we're going to do is we're going to create new this time. And you can create new from this little button, or if you don't have this button available, you can go to File, New Document. Okay, it's the exact same feature. And you get this window that says, what do you want to start with? Okay. Now, for those of you who've taken my Photoshop or my Illustrator classes, I explain a few things about this and then I kind of sweep on to work inside of the program. But here in the Digital Design Techniques class, I'm going to spend a bit more time with this box because the idea is that right now you're not using one tool, you're learning how to create a final piece. And so the creation box really matters. The creation of the file box really matters. This InDesign is the place that's going to hold the material that you're going to bring from a variety of different places. So if you're going to create a postcard, such as we're going to do right now, you're going to have to bring in photos from Photoshop, maybe a logo from Illustrator, maybe some other icons. You're going to have to create something and something's in InDesign. You know, the postcard has like those lines in the back where you write. So a typical a typical mailing piece for a business would be a postcard, for example. So we're going to create that. So first of all, we're going to create it for print. Now, if you know that you're also going to use this imagery for web or for mobile, the one you should create first is for print, in the sense that for print, you're going to need the most quality, highest quality resolution imagery and stuff like that. And as the files progress to being shared on things for screen, you will need less quality of an image. So if it works for printing, it's going to work once you modify it for screen. But if you first design something for screen and then you want a postcard out of it, you might have spent all this time working with this photo that's awesome, gorgeous, wonderful. And then you want to make a postcard or a flyer out of it and you discover it was never good enough and you can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So you always have to go from what needs the most resources to the least. So we'll start with assuming that it's for print. So over here, by going to print, already certain things have changed here. I spoke a little bit about it at other times, but notice the difference between going to web. It sets up a file in pixels. If you go to mobile, it's the same. It sets up a file in pixels. Those are both different types of screens. I'm gonna show you as I scroll a little bit more that it has a couple of other things here that it's asking you to set up. All of them measured in pixels. If you go to print, it defaults to picas. And as I scroll down, all the numbers are in picas. Now, we can change that default setting, or we can just simply come here and change it to inches. And notice that it changes all along, like all the things that are in picas have now changed to inches. So it just knows that you want the whole thing to be changed. Okay. If you didn't change it here, you can also change it inside of the document, but it's important to really change it here because you first need to set up your document the way you want it. So what we want is a postcard. We're going to want it to be landscape. So we're going to click on this landscape here. And then the size we want a postcard to be is going to be 6x4. So you don't need to type 6 inches and all that. Since we're in the inches mode, all you need to type is the number 6. That's all. And then either you click on the next box or you hit your tab key to move over to different boxes. And then you get here and we type 4 in this one. Now, the size that we're going to put in here is our final size that we want the document to be. This is important. A final size that you want the document to be. And I had a postcard here from my dentist earlier, and someone must have tried to help me to clean up my desk. Oh, there you go. Oh, this is not the best example. Okay. I had another one. I had put 2 samples here of postcards, but anyway, here's one of them. So I think I need to, because of the blur filter I have in front of me. There we go. So here's a little postcard in the sense that in the back, it's the typical, hey, come, don't miss your appointment. No, stamp, off it goes, right? So it's a cheap thing that just about every business here and there might want to use. Or this one here, you might notice, has a big white border around it. So printing it this way is cheaper than if the photo went to the edges. And I was trying to find a sample here that goes to the edges, but never mind, any product where the color or the image goes to the edges. And I happen to have the National Geographic here, not a postcard, but you get my message. When something color goes to the edges, be it a photograph, like I need to turn this filter off. It's just that in the background I have a mess. So I don't want to. The house is a bit messy. Oh, here you go. If I put it in front of my nose, it works. So see, this is a photograph of a tiger, and this is tiny. I know that I'm sharing my screen. You can't see this well, but I'm basically showing a photograph going to the very edges versus color going to the very edges versus a photograph not going to the very edges. Okay. And this is cheaper because you're going to go to the printer and actually print and create a file that is truly this size versus, so say 4x6. You're going to pay for 4x6 and that's all. But if you print a postcard where the photo has to go to the edges, then you actually have to buy bigger paper. You have to buy bigger paper because photos can't be printed exactly to the edge and hope that it works, because calibration, registration issues, you might have white lines, you might have weird things happening. So you need to create a file with extra space. So the photograph actually, if the paper is 4x6, your print might be 4.5 by 6.5, right? And then a machine has to come in and cut off, trim, it's called, 4 cuts. So it gets much more expensive because you buy bigger paper and you have to pay for each cut. They charge you per cut. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
Now, that little bit of extra space that you have to print something for, that space you need to leave extra so that a photo prints to the very edge, that's called bleed. So the photo bleeds out of the image, right? Okay, so if my final piece is 4x6 and my photo is going to bleed, is what we call it, meaning it's going to span the edges and I'm going to have no white borders, then when I go down, I'm going to keep going down to my choices and I'm going to find the bleed and slug. And you might tell me if your choices are closed like this. You might find that your choices are collapsed. I don't know if they are, but if so, you just kind of open them by clicking on this little arrow to get all your choices. But here we get to the bleed and slug. So what we're going to do, a typical amount of bleed is 0.125 of an inch. So we're going to click in here and write 0.125 or 0.125. Now, the bleed traditionally is identical across all 4 corners. Only once or twice in my life have I done documents where the bleed had to be different for different reasons. For the most part, it tends to be the same everywhere. And I don't want to write 0.125 everywhere. And I don't have to, because see how there's a link here versus here it's unlinked. Here it's linked. This is a broken chain link. This is a good chain link. So here, if I now hit the tab key, see how 0.125 populates all 4? I just wrote 0.125 in the bleed, and then I hit tab, or I just went to click on another one, and it didn't matter. Just by clicking on the next field, boom, 1.125 got written in all of them. Did that work for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, no.
That's because now if I were to want one to be different, I would unlink this, but 99.9% of the times bleed's the same. Yeah, what's the question?
Well, the mistake I made was when I put it in, I hit return so that it took me, now I went out of it.
Okay.
Now I went to the.
Yeah, if you hit return, it's as good as having said create, like you've actually created it, right? So
Yeah.
don't do this, the rest of you guys, but say that you did hit return, right? I'm going to just show her how to fix that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say create. That means the file got created. We're not done creating it, so get rid of it. Just go up and close it. Okay, and then just say file, new document again. And let's start over because I have more to teach you. And it's really quick. There's not that many changes. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to choose inches again. notice that it's already set in my 6x4 because you did create that document, even though we got rid of it. So it remembers the last document. So everything is set up already. That's why I said it's not a big deal to recreate it, because,
Not on mine. It didn't save it. No, it didn't.
okay, well then change them. I don't know why it wouldn't have, but okay, so change it to inches again. And then write 6x4 facing,
Oh, you mean the units
horizontal.
are saved? Yeah, the units are saved.
and then the only other thing that we've added is bleed, which is 0.125. Now, let's scroll back a little bit and notice that how many pages we're going to have in a postcard is actually going to be 2. We're going to design 1 page for the front, 1 page for the back. Now, this isn't pages as in it's a booklet, right? But it's 2 different sizes. You need to design each side of this document, right? So we're going to have 2 pages over here. We're going to write 2 pages.
Yeah, you just can't wait.
Okay, Francis, it's you in the background, so I'm going to unmute. I'm going to mute you. That I'm hearing kids in the background, or
Yeah,
a high
you're right,
pitched
but
voice.
it's
A high
not,
pitched voice. It can be people. I
it
don't know.
keeps going to a page. It's not letting me stay in the creation box.
Are you keep hitting return? You hit the
No, I didn't hit it again. I'm trying, I keep deleting a page that's, so when I create new,
Okay, why don't you share?
okay, I got it. I create new. I got it. Create new instead of hitting the, I got it.
Okay. Now, we're going to say 2 pages, but they don't need to be facing pages because this isn't a booklet, right? It's facing pages would be if I'm trying to design a booklet where I have to make sure that I see both pages next to each other because I'm going to maybe put a photo that spans both pages, right? We don't need facing pages. These are truly just 2 sides. So we can turn off the facing pages choice. So we'll have 2 separate pages. Sometimes it really matters. Let me, I'm going to stop my share when I'm showing myself. Give me a second, Patricia. When you design something where the facing pages matter, you know, like this, you want to see in your design both pages. In this case, in this page, it doesn't matter. This is an ad and this is part of the, oh, wow, this isn't going to work. For this class, I'm going to have to take the blur off. Let me take the blur filter off for a second here, guys, because. Okay, so you can see. So in this case, one is an ad and one is another ad, and they were designed independently, and who knows or who cares if it matters. These as well. But other times you get to a place where the design does matter, that you see both sides, right? So in this case, you would have to set up a booklet or a magazine as facing pages so that when you get to a page that it matters, you can design them. Another page where it doesn't matter, then it just doesn't matter. I don't know, let me find one where it doesn't matter. Like this one, that's fine, but they will still be designed this way. But in a postcard, you just need to see one side on and one side off, right? So it doesn't matter. Okay.
Where's off facing pages? How's it say on off?
Let me share my screen again. And just so you know, my son has just reminded me he's having his final biology exam today, and he's asking me to keep my voice down. So I'm going to do my very best. If you guys hear me speaking loudly, remind me your son is taking his exam. He warned me since yesterday. He says, Mom, on Friday afternoons, you're always so loud when I'm taking biology. And today's his final exam. So can you, I know, I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. Sorry, we're all talking on top of each other. Can you hear me if I speak like this? Yeah, if I speak like this and you can't hear me, turn your volume on louder, okay? And then if you turn on your volume louder, which you might have had to dial down because I'm speaking so loudly, if you hear me getting too loud, please remind me your son's taking his exam, because then during his exam, he won't be able to remind me, right? So anyway, but not yet. I had a timer on for whatever time it was going to be at 2. Yeah, it starts at 2. So. Okay. So now I'm sharing my screen again. And oh no, it starts at 2:30. No, at 2:15. Whatever. Here's the facing paces boxes that I turn off or on just by clicking or unclicking. I said off or on, so it sounds like there should be an off and on somewhere, but it's just a checkbox. Okay.
Since you're there, can you show me where you put 125?
Yeah. Scrolled down and I went to bleed and slug, and it's 0.125. So it's 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Now, for those of us in the world, which there's quite a few of you guys who had to learn this ridiculous system of measurements that you guys use in this country, I had to learn it. I'm from Argentina, I learned everything in centimeters, and this is driving me crazy. So I remember it's 1/8 of an inch. And so then I just go to the calculator and I go 1 divided by 8 and I get 0.125, and then I type it in because I will never remember otherwise. Hopefully you guys who have lived here all of your life get your numbers a bit better, but I have to actually do 1 divided by 8 on a calculator to get this number. It just drives me crazy. That said, 0.125 is a very typical bleed. So this one I do remember. So let me show you another way to get those numbers in. You can go up and down here in these arrows, right? And so when it started at 0, the first choice, if you go up, is 0.125. And you see how it changes across all of them. 1 more up, it goes into 1/4 of an inch. So this is 1/8 of an inch, and this is 1/4 of an inch if you keep going. But usually in just about every product I've ever designed, 0.125 is enough. So just going up 1 arrow gives you that number if you don't remember what that basic number is. Okay, so that's another way of using that. All right. The next thing that we want to talk about is
Liana, real quickly, can you explain? I know what bleed is, but what is slug?
okay. I wanted to get to margins first, but since it is bleed and slug, I'll go to bleed and slug. Slug is very rarely used. We used to use it a ton. Doesn't use it so much anymore. Slug is a place you make some more space outside of your document, right? It's outside of the document, outside of the postcard. You have a place where you can add some space to write instructions to the printer. So to the printer, meaning not the machine that you have by your desk, but if this is going to a professional printer, you're sending this job to a printer who is maybe going to print 20,000 postcards for you. And you need to tell them, hey, anything from, if you need to contact me, I'm living in the States and you're in China, this is my hour difference, to make sure to overset the text. I mean, instructions to the printer of some kind or another. So when this file gets printed and turned into film, I'll show you that the instructions are there. So there's no way the printer can supposedly miss that information. Now, this is how it's been done for eons, but there's other ways to get information, and there's other methods now. So people, not many people use a slug anymore, but for some countries use it more than others. So it's one of those things that people are accustomed to or not, but it is nothing that affects our print. So if you ignore it and never do it, unless someone says, write something in the slug, then that's what it means. Other than that, we're going to leave it always off. So that's what slug is. It's just something for communicating between designer and printer outside of the document. Now, let's head up again and let me finish from the very top. I kind of jumped to bleed, so we didn't go all the way down. So here, put 6x4, 2 pages, non-facing. Then it says primary text frame, and we don't want that. This is not going to be like a book where if we want to make a book and we're going to have a 20-page book or a 200-page book, we don't want to have to be creating a text frame to put text in each page. We just want that text frame to exist. So we would say text frame because we know text is the main thing about this document. But in a postcard, text is not the main thing about the document. So we don't want a primary text frame. So we leave it off by default. Now, are we going to need any columns? You know, columns like a magazine that has gutters and column spaces. And let me head back to This would be an article that has text written in 2 columns. See that? We don't need columns for a postcard, so we don't do that. So 1 column is equivalent to no columns, meaning it's just the text has no columns in between them, so it doesn't mean a column, it means no column. And then we get to margins. Margin is something that people are more accustomed to because of Word or one of those things where a margin is basically the part of the document that no writing happens on, right? How does that translate into this, into a magazine or into this world? Well, once again, notice here in my good old National Geographic, see how there's this area where I'm gonna have to ask you guys to have magazines or stuff next to you. See how there's an area where there's no text? That's fine. I'm glad everyone's getting vaccinating. I got my vaccine last week, my first one, because as an educator, I got to get my first job. So, I think I told you guys that. That was last Thursday. So I'm in my week 2. Yay.
I'm getting it next Thursday, and it's the Johnson & Johnson one.
Oh, so you're getting
So
just one.
I only need the one.
Look at you, and you'll be all fully protected even before me, because I have to wait until my second one. Good job, well done. I don't know how you got it, but yay! All right, when I say well done, as if you had anything to do with it, but yeah, it's the luck of the draw. So anyway, here we go. This is a margin beyond which we don't want any text to go. Okay. Now it's obvious in a page of text we understand margin because we've always understood that you don't want text to go to the edge. But when you have an advertisement maybe, or a postcard or something like this, there still needs to be a place beyond which you would not put text that needs to be read. So say in this one, you would have a margin here, even if you could put the text higher, there's an area of safety where it's uncomfortable to have text that you're gonna really need to read to go past a certain space. And if for chance the magazine gets cut wrong or the postcard gets cut wrong, it would begin to encroach in upon stuff that matters, like text. Or if you have a person's face here, you might not want to have that person's eye right on the edge in case it gets cut out. You might want to have a safe space beyond which things that really matter don't get put. So that would be the margin. You can have the rest of this cheek of the woman, make sure her edge of her eye is inside of the margin so that if we get more or less cut, that still exists. So depending on the size of the piece, a 1/2-inch margin is pretty fat. For an 8.5 by 11 letter, that's a lot. But for a little postcard, 1/2-inch margin is a huge portion of it. So maybe we're going to make it for a postcard a smaller margin. So we can either write 0.25 to make it a 1/4 inch, or we can just go down once, twice, and then you get the 1/4 inch. This is 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. No, 2 down is 1/4 inch, and then the other one is that 2/8 or what. I don't know how those things work. Your guys' numbers in between. So we're gonna just do a 1/4 inch. Okay. Notice that they all change at the same time. Now it is very typical to have margins that are different. Maybe you want more margin at the top, less margin at the bottom. So if you were to do that, you would have to unlink, see how the click link, and then maybe have the top margin be bigger than the bottom margin or vice versa. Now I want them all the same, so I'm going to link that again, but that's how you would do that. All right. So by now we've kind of gone through all of the different choices. One thing I didn't show you because there's not much space. If you want to be seeing what we create, you could have had the preview on. I just know all these things. I don't have the preview on. Plus this box is so big, the preview doesn't let you see anything. So, but if you had the preview on, you would be seeing underneath supposedly what you're creating. But this box is so big that it doesn't ever let you see what you're creating. So I don't see the point of that preview, to say the truth. So I'm going to leave it off by default. And now that I know that I've done all my checking, I'm going to say create.
Well, how about titling it? Should you put a title on it?
Nah.
No.
Because if you put in a title, then you might forget that it's not been saved yet. So no, I don't put a title on it until I save it.
Question.
Question though. Yes.
How do you go back to editing the previous screen to editing the pages if you want to make changes?
Yeah, so first go ahead and say create. And when you're here, now I'll show you where to get back. As I showed Francis, if you have quite a few things that are needing to be changed, it's easiest maybe to just get rid of it and start again. But if you've already been working on the document and you already have stuff happening, you might want to just maybe now add more margin or less margin. First, let me show you what this means, and then we'll have you change it. So here's my document. Here's my, I'm going to scroll down and see one page and another page. So I've got 2 pages. I don't know if you're seeing your rulers. Do you see your rulers here on yours or not? They are by
Yes.
default on. Okay, otherwise you need to turn them on by saying view rulers. So if some of you have the rulers off, then go to view and make sure to turn the rulers on, but I think you have them on. Okay, so this line in here, the white, between white and gray, that's my 4x6. That's the final, what we call trim size. That's going to be the final piece, 4x6. This line in here is my margins, beyond which I shouldn't put any text or anything truly important. In case the trimmer comes in and does a bad job and slashes it right here, your address is still safe. And this red line is your bleed. So you're going to have to put in a photo that bleeds all the way to there, so that when the trimmer comes and does trim there, again, there's margin of image on both sides for the trimmer to do a bad job and cut over there or cut over here. Okay. Now say that you want to change some of this. Say like Alan said, what if I said create and I'm not happy with some of these settings? Well, notice that here on the right, if you have the properties panel on your far right, it might be you don't have it. I think last time I had it. Did I have us go to Essentials or Essentials Classic? What? Well, we never opened InDesign yet.
I have.
I think we opened it, but we didn't get to save it. So I'm going to go to Essentials Classic. If you go to Essentials Classic, you don't have a properties panel here.
No, I have the pages, layers, and links. So,
Okay, so that's this one, which is Essentials Classic. Yeah, so I wanted to check. If you have Essentials, which is the basic one, then they put a properties panel here where you can change things. See, it's the same number, same works. But if you have Essentials Classic, which is the one I've asked you all to have, so go ahead and switch to Essentials Classic, those of you who didn't yet, and that's up here in the workspaces. Then you have to go to File, Document Setup, File, Document Setup, and then you turn that on, and then you have all the choices to change your setup here. Okay. Bleed and slug, margins, page and sizes, and
oh, that's good.
okay.
Thank you. I prematurely went ahead without finishing.
Yeah, we're accustomed to hitting return, right? And so as soon as you hit return, that return means I'm done with this page. So then you go over here, and then you can change your bleed, your slug, which might be collapsed. You might need to open it, your margins, your width and height, your orientation, facing, it's all here. Type of document. So yes, Justine, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure, how did you get from where I am to where you are? So I'm in the place where we're setting, the margins and the bleed.
Okay,
and all that.
So I hit create.
Okay, that's what I wanted to check and make sure that was what I should do.
So once you finish doing all your setup, you create. Like in other documents, it might matter more or less how to start. That was my alarm, how to create. But in this case, it really does matter to create your initial document that's going to hold all your material well from the start.
Thank you.
Who had a question?
I don't get that essentials thing. I don't know what that, I don't understand where or what that is.
Okay, up at the top of your document above your
oh yeah,
by default you're probably in essentials. It says the word essentials. You can choose what kind of workspace you want to work with. Can you all hold on for just a minute? I need to put you on. You're gonna see me moving my mouth, but I'm talking to my husband for a second, so you'll hear him, but you won't hear me. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna take like 1 minute. My husband and my other son are taking off for a weekend of backpacking, so let me go say goodbye and I'll be back. So just hang on for 1 second because it's too early to give you guys a break. So just give me 1 minute for this, okay?
Say hi for me. Tell them to have a
Okay,
good time.
I will.
Minus 828. We're taking the dog.
Are you the person who cut off the very long strings on this?
Yeah, they got caught in the washer. They got caught in the,
Watching the sensor thing.
the whole center of the thing got rattled and the break our.
Yeah. We can put in string.
I
in.
had to untangle
Mom's
it.
amazing. She can put in a string in for you. So 42 pounds. Cool. How much you have?
30.
I need to give you more weight.
I'm carrying the tent.
I actually found it in a water bag. Just bring my, can you bring the fruit?
Jack. Jack. Jack, I need to go back one last thing. Can you please text me where you're going, just so that I know where you're going? No, please
Yeah.
text it to me right
We're
now.
taking the dog.
Oh, you are?
It's a 2-mile hike.
Pics and shit, okay. All right, we'll watch them when you get
Yeah,
back.
you come to
Okay,
restaurant.
can you please text me that name
I will.
right now? Before I forget? Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I'm back. I also want to do as much as I can before Santi starts his exam. Busy day here. All right.
Diana,
Yes.
where are they going?
I was just telling him, you got to text me the name. 4 Bush Flats or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I was going to go too, but I have
To
a
work.
huge class. This is spring break this week, but I have this huge class I'm teaching for the back to work program that I have to prepare because it's the first time I ever teach it, so I didn't get to go. But they're going to be on a really long backpacking trip this summer because of Boy Scouts, and so we're trying to train my son, who's been doing nothing but sitting in his desk for a whole year, zooming and being very inactive. So they got to start training for carrying heavy packs, and so they're all loaded really heavy, even though they're just going for one night, but they're got their big packs on. Okay.
But your younger son, right? Not the oldest.
Yeah, my youngest one. All right, so you know what? I'm gonna write what he said about 4 Bush Flats, or I'm gonna forget because.
It's FORBUSH.
What's that?
FOR.
Okay. So now we have our document. Oh, let me share my screen again. So now we have our document set up.
Good catch, Diana.
I caught it before. I had to be reminded. I know. I could tell. So I was talking about the workspace where where I've asked you to shift to Essentials Classic. And I usually do this in teaching because people at home might not have the latest version, which happens a lot when I'm teaching at school. But here, since I've asked you guys to have the Creative Cloud version, it's possible now to begin to teach with some of the other basic settings. But anyway, for now, Essentials Classic has all of the tools available. So here we have our bleed, our margin, and our trim size. Remember, that's the final piece, is what you see is white. And we need to start by bringing in oh, let's save this file. Let's save this file. So we're going to do file, save as. For those of you at home, save it wherever you have all your documents for this class. For those of you in VDI, we're going to go to the Google Drive here. Click on Google Drive on the left. And then we're going to have to create this in your own personal My Drive. So double click My Drive. We made a folder the other day. Hopefully you all made it. Digital Design Techniques. Double click in there. And then here we're going to call this one postcard. And we're going to say save. So notice that my file is now postcard.indd in design document. Okay, that's the extension for InDesign document. All right. So
Postcard what? What's it called?
just postcard. That's all. You can be more specific. Just dropped it in as a postcard. So so here's when we start seeing that in InDesign, what you do is you bring in photos, you bring in logos, you bring in material. But here's where you create the text. Okay. So where you create the text is here's my, by the way, I'm scrolling up and down with my mouse to do this. I'm rolling on my mouse, or you can grab on this little scroll bar and go up and down, or the other way, you can move up and down. If you hold down your space bar, you're going to get a hand and you can drag up and down, click and drag up and down. So those are the different ways to go up and down. Okay, to see your 2 pages. Now,
A question?
let go of your space bar and then your hand disappears. Yes, what's your question?
Yeah, I have the 2 pages, but the second page is to the left and the first page is upper right. They're not directly one above the other.
Yeah, that's probably, so go to File, Document Setup, and that's because you left the facing pages turned on.
Oh, I see.
And so turn off the facing pages. When we make a document that has facing pages, you'll understand why they are in that weird position, but we're starting with a simple document. So by turning off the facing pages, so then saying okay, then they will become one after the other. So I'm about to show you, hold on. Let me say one more thing and then ask me some more questions, because I'm going to show you something for those of you who don't have. Here on the right, it says pages, layers, or links. So if you click on pages, you will see your page 1. And if you double click your page 2, 1 and 2. So those are your 2 pages. Right now, they have nothing on them, so it's hard to distinguish them. One last thing before I take questions, you can also zoom in and out, control minus, and then you see both of your pages, control or command if you're on a Mac, control plus, and you go into one. Okay. All right. So yeah.
I didn't get a second page somehow. I don't know why.
All right. So go to File. Anyone for whom the setup is different, go to File, Document Setup, and then add a number 2 on number of pages.
Okay.
Okay. And then say okay. And then you get 2 pages.
Okay.
All right. So and I'm seeing a couple of other puzzled faces. I really appreciate those of you who put on your videos, because then I can kind of follow through with what's happening as if you were in class when you guys are not. Again, I'm not asking you to turn them on, but if you turn them on, I have an idea of the tenure of the class. Am I totally moving way beyond you? Am I doing the right thing? You know, so Justine, you have a question?
Well, I was going to ask, how did you get back to that? I don't know what it's called.
The document setup?
Yes, the setup. How did you?
File,
there?
Document setup.
Okay. And then meanwhile, while I was waiting to ask that question, my whole thing just like shut down. My
Ouch.
InDesign, Photoshop bridge, like the whole thing just went away.
That happened to me when I was doing Photoshop this morning. I was showing Bonnie something else in Gmail or something, and when I came back, my InDesign had shut down. That said, the good news is since you already had all this open, if you connect back to VDI, your documents should be open still, hopefully.
Oh,
there it is. same. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry, an error occurred, hasn't encountered a problem and needs to close.
uh,
So it
that-
came, yeah, anyway, it came back, but now it says it needs to, anyway, I'll just. open
Check,
up-
check, check and see whether if it's the Google Drive that you need to reset maybe again, or if it's actually your VDI, then you have to restart the whole VDI process. I don't
Yeah,
know.
at this point, it looks like Photoshop is still open, so it's just InDesign that needs to.
Oh, InDesign is what, okay. And you're the one who had the issue originally with InDesign. So,
Yeah, so anyway, let me just open it again and we'll see how that goes.
okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. I have to say, and this is something that InDesign is a program used by the entire population of, designers and stuff like that. But even when I'm at school, InDesign is the one program that gives me more problems of Adobe than the rest. It is more quirky. And I don't know if it's the setup that the school has of InDesign, but many times in InDesign, when I try to show things in my teacher's desk, my teacher's station up in the lab, I tend to have problems that I can't open certain files and handle certain files. I'm finding that in VDI, it's more problematic. So I don't know if it's the build that the school has, because in my personal life, InDesign doesn't give me problems in my personal computer, but it does at school. So I don't know why. All right. So if you save often, that would be the first thing I would say. Save your work often, so that if you do crash, when you open up, you can open the file and not have lost too much work. Okay. All right. Oh, I got another text from my son. It's time to start being a little quieter. So, okay. Jesus. Okay. I wish we could just pick up and go like if I were on a laptop, but I'm on this humongous desktop with 3 monitors. So notice that over here it says pages, and I showed you how to go from page 1 to page 2. There's layers, and we're going to talk about the utility or not of layers in InDesign. Then there's links. All 3 of these are really important. In particular, right now, pages and links are going to be very important to us. There's nothing in the document, so there's no links.
Diana, I actually lost that. Even though I'm in Essentials Classic, I lost that little.
Okay, so go up here. It's possible one option would be that you double clicked on the word pages or something like that and it collapsed. In which case, if you double click, it'll come up again. But if you don't see that at all, then let's go ahead and say reset
Mine are
essentials.
vertical, not horizontal.
Well, go back to your document page and choose that. So go to File, Document Setup, and choose, instead of orientation, portrait, choose orientation landscape.
No, the pages, layers, links, like where it lists that is vertical. It's not, yours is horizontal.
My page?
No, where it says pages, layers, links, where it says those things.
Oh.
Mine goes down.
Like that or that?
Down the right. Yeah, goes down the right.
So all these things change shape and size according to how it fits best in your computer and what you're seeing. It adapts to whatever monitor you're having. So that as long as you see it, that's okay. All right. So we might not need all of these here, but they're showing us, and the most important ones are pages and links. Now, yes.
Can you hear me? Oh, I have a problem because I was not paying attention in the battery, and the one that I'm using for all the programs shut down. I already turned it on, but I need to sign out of my drive and return.
On a different computer you just connected? Because I saw that you had popped out and popped in again.
I was using like the one that I using like for watch the class, and the other one to use like the programs.
Mm-hmm.
And the one with the programs is the one that shut down.
Yeah, if it lost its battery and you start again, it will probably have you start all over. I doubt that if you go into VDI, it'll remember everything.
Okay,
so
I should sign out and restart like as
Yeah, well, try to sign in. I have a feeling, well, you know what? If it's just the power and it was just a second and then you replugged it, it might work. Go check and see if it's still valid. If it's not, then you'll have to reopen. But as long as your file is saved, you'll open it and you'll be here. And we'll keep going. I'm still teaching stuff about how this works. So we're not moving that fast into creating the postcard because I've got so much stuff to teach you about, you know, how to set up the postcard. So it's okay. You just do your reset. And then when you're back, let me know, say, okay, I'm on again, and then I'll help you catch up. Yes, Justine?
So my InDesign is opened up again, but I just noticed that up in the left corner, yours says the name of your file and then at 75%. Mine says 97%.
That's
Is
okay.
that that's just the size you're looking at it at,
Yeah,
right?
it's
That's
just,
okay. Got it.
that's all it is. So it's just got to do with how we're moving. So now I'm making it smaller. So it went down to 25%.
Right.
Now I'm going to make it bigger and it's gone to 200%. Okay, so this is command or control minus or command or control plus. Okay, so that's all we're doing. So now I'm going to have us, I'm going to select page 1 over here. I'm going to use this pages to select page 1. And I'm going to try to fill the screen with just this one. So if I do control or command 0, then that fills my screen with just page 1. Okay. Controller command 0 is a fill the screen command. So now, but first I made sure I was in 1, because if I'm in 2 or 1, they're so hard to tell. The only ways you would tell right now that there's nothing on them is by seeing which one of these 2 is selected, or down here, you can see that it says page 1, or it says a number 1. If I go here and double click on 2, see how I switched to page 2. I can also click on this arrow and go to page 1 or page 2. Okay, so there's just different ways. This is a document, this is a program that can handle, 100-page documents or whatever. So if you need to go from page 2 to page 400, this would come in handy. With only 2 to go, it's not so complicated. You just zoom up or down, right? Okay. All right. And in design, we're going to lay out text. We're going to bring in logos. We're going to bring in photographs. Now, let's start by bringing in a photograph. This photograph that we're going to bring in is going to have been worked on in Photoshop. So if I need to make it bigger, smaller, brighter, darker, lighter, a different color, all of that work has to be done first in Photoshop. You can't do anything like that in Illustrator nor in InDesign. You need to do that in Photoshop. But when you're done and your photograph is ready, or you think it's ready, and you might later have to change it, but you don't know yet, you can start by placing it. So I'm going to say File, Place, the shortcut Control D, Place. And this is where we were last week when I discovered InDesign wasn't working, so I kept doing this in Photoshop. But for those of you who hopefully you downloaded today's file. Those of you who are at home, did you download today's files already? Go find wherever they are. For those of you who are at home,
Yes.
I'm already here, but I don't know that I got you here. You might still be in class files, going to the new download. I think, yeah, because I told you all to open. And then let's click on Mexico and say open. And so here comes this photo. Now, I didn't go into Photoshop first to find out the size of this photo. Remember, we were talking about that last week. So to say the truth, I don't know if it's proportional to 4:6 or if it's 5:7 or if it's 3:4. I really don't know right now. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Had I known, many times you do know, it's your own photos, you processed it, but maybe I processed this one 2 years ago and I don't remember. So just to demonstrate this, what I do when I don't know, I'm going to say Control minus, minus, minus. So I'm going to get kind of small here because I don't know if this photo is going to drop really big or really small. So I am just going to put my mouse at the edge of the bleed, okay? Not inside the document or at the edge of the trim. but at the edge of the bleed, you see the difference between this is the edge of the margin, this is the edge of the trim, this is the edge of the bleed. I want this photo to bleed. So I'm going to put my mouse at the edge of the bleed, the tip of my mouse, and then I'm just going to simply click. And it's going to drop in all of its size that it can be. Does that make sense? And what we discover is that this photo is what? Is it big or smaller? What is it?
Bigger.
It is. It is bigger. No.
Now,
Now,
can I ask a question before
yes.
this?
Mhm.
So when I saw all of the choices on the new downloads, the choices were to get these pictures. I don't
Yeah,
see
it's
the
from
pictures.
postcards.
I just
Sorry.
saw icons.
Okay, so
I couldn't
okay,
tell
I
what
hear
it
you.
was.
So listen to how to do this. I hurried in the new downloads. If you are seeing, are you on a Mac? Is that what you're saying? Or are you on VDI or on a Mac? What are you on?
VDI.
Okay, so you didn't see these words, you saw pictures here?
No, I want to see, I like to see almost like little previews when I'm choosing the photo, because I don't know what these are.
Yeah, well,
and I want to see the little tiny pictures of them.
yeah, I don't, on the PC, I don't know how to do that. On the Mac, you see it. PC, I think, show the preview pane and you select it. And yeah, the PC is not as good as the Mac is for these kind of things. So I don't know how you would see the photo. I'm sure there's a way, but I don't know. I would have thought and the Mac, the preview pane would show you the image, but yeah.
Usually I can see that when I choose my photos.
Well, I don't know. The way it's set up is the way VDI is set up. Just trust me this time, and on your regular system, it might work. I don't know.
All right,
I'm going to turn that off. Sorry. So then say open. And then what we had done is we had just dropped it. Okay. So when we just dropped it, it got bigger. Now you notice that it allowed it to spread out until it hit the ends of this gray area here is called the paste board. The paste board. So I can put things in the paste board, but in this case, when they got even too big for the paste board, it just went out. So I only see parts of it, but the photo actually, if I move it up or down, is bigger than the paste board. See that? So there's a few ways to fix this, but one first thing I want to know is whether this photo is already ready to be printed. Like, is it the correct resolution? And since I didn't check this in Photoshop yet, which those of you who know Photoshop, there is a way to do and check this in Photoshop. But let's see if you're in InDesign and you were given a photo and you didn't open it in Photoshop. Well, can we find out if it's ready to be printed? Right? Justine?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted when I.
No, that's fine. But you were having problems because you dropped out.
Yeah, okay, so I go to that new downloads file. I see the Mexico photo, but it's not. I'm not. Sorry, sometimes I just don't know how to explain what the problem is. I double click on it to try to open it, but it doesn't drop the photo into InDesign. It just gives me it in a separate window.
So
I don't have the thing that says open when I click on it. It doesn't.
Okay, why don't you share your screen?
Okay.
Because you might be doing it from a different spot. I don't know what.
Yeah.
When the sentence that you said, it's hard to explain it. I completely agree with you, which is why it's always easier to just share screen.
Yeah, so sometimes I just don't feel like I have the right words to describe.
Okay, so here's the problem. You did not say file open. You are in the file explorer.
Right.
See, you're in the explorer finding files. So close this box. We don't use that
I
when we
see.
want
So
to
you
place
went to
that.
the file up
You
here?
need to place inside of the document. Yeah, file place.
Oh, file place. Okay, I missed that. Sometimes I missed just a little
And now
something.
you open something that looks similar, but this time, even though it looks similar, it does have an open version. So now you need to, yeah, did you
So I need to get back to where that is.
Google Drive file stream? You're in my drive right now. So you need to go to the left and go to Google Drive, share drives, DigitalDesignTechniques. Class files up on top. No, you were fine. Class files.
Oh, it's in there. Yeah, new download.
And then inside of new downloads.
And so there.
Mexico. And now you can get in there.
Open. Yay. All right. Cool. Thanks.
And now you just click on the edges of the bleed.
Right up at the
take it to the bleed and give it a click. and it'll get too big.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's very big.
Cool. Stop your sharing, go ahead and do a command or control minus, and you'll be able to see the whole thing. So
Thank you.
in my case, I am, if I were to be in control 0 or command or control 0, which is filling my screen, sorry, for this one, then I would have what she had, which is I would just see my document size and then the rest just splits open. So that's why I did control or control minus to be able to see what happened out here and to see that it got too big. Okay. Now I'll teach you later a way to fix this, but first of all, I want to see if this is even a ready set file. So remember that I told you that we were placing this image in here. In fact, we went and did file place. Well, and here is the most crucial thing I want you to learn today. Because this applies to Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Bridge, Dreamweaver, the entire shebang of Adobe programs and the entire world of digital design. There's two ways to bring in an image to a document. You can embed it or you can link it. If you embed it, you are directly putting that photograph in here and dealing with it in here. And if the file was already, say, 2 megabytes and this photograph is 2 megabytes, now your file is 4 megabytes, right? Now you're adding, now you bring 2 more files that are 2 or 4 megabytes. And now it's 6, it's 8, it's 10 megabytes. Suddenly in a small brochure, you can, you jump up to, 50, 100 megabytes. Your InDesign barely moves, becomes really hard to work, big files. And on top of that, if you came in with material that's too big, like this one, see, it's way too big for the size I need. That's even worse because you're bringing in too much information for it. There's no good analogy in real life. I try to give real life analogies sometimes, but there's no necessarily real life analogy for this. So just know that it is much heavier. It's almost like the best analogy I can think of. Imagine if someone carries a backpack full of equipment, it's on one back. So that's a very heavy back versus if it's, 3 people are going to sleep in the 3 tent and one person carries the poles, one person carries the material, one person carries whatever, it lightens the load for everyone, right? So you kind of string along the equipment. So imagine if this digital InDesign document, all it did was have the layout and all the stuff that we put into it is linked, if you want, by a rope to all the stuff it needs, but it's not inside of that document. It's not embedded, right? And those links, all they do is they point to where InDesign can go find the file. So we pointed InDesign towards this Mexico photograph, which happened to be in a folder called new downloads or whatever, right? And whatever in all of the rest of your guys' computers, wherever it is that those files are, right? So we said, oh, go see it in there, but don't bring it in with all of its weight, just link it. So if you look in here, do you see that little link icon? Do you see my my hand? Let me put the little spotlight on. Do you see a link icon there, a chain? I've showed you a few times this chain icon a few places. That means that something is linked. Now, remember, I told you how important the pages and the links. Let's hit over here to the links tab. And now there's one link called Mexico. And it's a mexico.jpg. And if I hover over it, it even tells me where it is. If I just hover, it tells me it's in shared drives, DigitalDesignTechniques, class files, new Mexico, new downloads, Mexico. You see that? That's because my mouse is hovering over the name of the document. So once again, I need to have this selected or not. It doesn't matter once it's in there. If I go to the links now, if you don't see the links tab, then it's possible you need to reset your Essentials Classic, or as usual, when a window is missing from here that you want, you go to Window and you go find the links and you click on links and then it'll pop up. Now, once you have it up, then that's your file. And if you hover over it, it tells you where it came from. and it tells you what page it's on. It's on page 1. So if it were on page 97, it would say 97, right? Yes, Justine?
Is it a problem that I don't have that little link icon in the upper left of my photo?
Yeah, it could be that you embedded it, which
I didn't
could have
make
had-
a choice one way or the other. So is there a default?
Yeah.
Which would it do default?
I'm wondering. So let's stop sharing and have you share my screen. Have you share your screen.
Yeah, got it.
You know, I find that on Fridays I lose my voice a lot. I've been teaching all day. God, in the morning on Fridays, you should hear my voice is a croak. By now, it's getting to be a croak again. So it's kind of hard to whisper. Santi's asking me to speak slowly, but when your voice is croaking, whispering barely comes out. So, okay. So,
so I just went, because I didn't have that links window. So I just did what you mentioned, go up to window and
open links. So you have it there, but is it a link or not? That's interesting.
I mean, you saw when I dragged the photo, I just dragged it up to the corner and clicked.
Yeah. So now when you click, when you brought that photo in, see how I'm trying to show it. Go back to where it says Mexico JPEG. Put your mouse where it says Mexico. Yeah. Yeah. And now bring your mouse down to the first row of icons that you see.
Down here.
Bring it down. Yeah. So see over the left where it says one. Mine says one link. Okay. Because it's linked. Yours, on the other hand, probably does not say one link. And I can't tell. Can you hover over that? It says one.
It's yeah, that.
Hover over that.
One total link.
Total link, one unique, one sublink. I think it's trying to start with this. I don't know what it's.
The only one that
wait, move it wider. Make that box go to the edge of it, to the left edge. Left edge.
This box?
And yeah, and make it wider. I want to see what that says. One selected. Okay, that's what it said. Okay, I just didn't know what that word said. Okay. It seems to me that yours is still linked because when you click, see how there's a little chain icon there?
This here?
Yeah.
Link? Should I do that?
No, because it says relink. That means it's already, it just would mean that it's linked. Okay, so yeah, I think you're fine. I don't know why you're missing the little link icon.
Mine. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it's missing the little link icon that I showed you at the very top, but I don't know why it's missing it. So, oh, you're still in Essentials. That's why you couldn't find the links. Go up to Essentials Classic.
You know, it's because when I had to reopen InDesign, I had it Essentials Classic, but then when I had to reopen it, I didn't
There you go. So now you have the links right there. So you go to the right of the pages, and the tab at the top says the one that says pages. That there's your links.
But it still doesn't show the little link.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's a settings difference. I don't know why.
Okay,
it's fine. It's still linked.
As long as it's how it should be. Thanks.
Thanks. I'm going to stop sharing and start my sharing. By the way, what time is it? 2:34.
About time for a break.
Yeah. So give me a second while I finish teaching you this one thing I'm trying to teach you about linked versus embedded, and then we'll let you go. So Veronica, also you said you need a bit of help. So when I give a break, I can stay behind and try to help you a little bit. Okay, Veronica? Help you catch up. Okay, so now here we have this photo that I want more information about. Okay, so if I head over here, I can see, I select this image and I can kind of either make this a bit bigger so I can see better, right? That, or I can scroll down, but it would have taken too long to scroll down. So I just want to see right now the information of this photo. So those of you who I've shown you how to show up metadata up in Bridge, this is a way to see it straight in the document. Click on the Mexico link, and right underneath that, you see the word link info. But if you click and drag and spread out, there's more information. And so what this document is telling me is that this file is a JPEG file, and actual PPI, pics per inch, is 300. Effective PPI is 300. Now, for those of you who were in my Photoshop class, is that a good PPI number? And I'll explain to the rest of you what we mean by this, but is that a good PPI number for printing?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, it is.
So PPI means pixels per inch, and 300 pixels per inch is the golden standard. It's the number that you want your files to have. When we go into Photoshop, I will teach this class about resolution, but before I do that, I want everyone who hasn't been in Photoshop and has not read the article, I need you to read an article as homework so that you can be ready for that. So let me just show you that where you find those. And if you, once you're in Google Drive at some point, and I'm just showing it to you right now, go and find of all those handouts, the new pixels, image size and image resolution in Photoshop. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna write myself a note. I'm gonna email it to you guys because I don't want people to not read it because they can't access it or can't find it or something. So I'm going to email you guys because we've got spring break coming up. So use spring break to read this article, okay? So email it to the Digital Design Techniques students. There we go.
Break next week.
Yes, all week next week there is no class for any of the classes. So that's what I want you guys to read, but I'll email it to you guys. Okay. Then I'll explain this more. But right now, for those of you who already know about it, and for those who don't, this is where you would check to see how you're doing. And guess what? It's got too many pixels, meaning it's too big for what we need. Okay, we know that already. We can see how it burst over, but it could have been that it was this big. But if here it said, say 72 PPI, it would have meant nothing. It would have been too big, but still the quality would have been bad. I wouldn't be able to fix it here. I would have had to go into Photoshop and fix it in Photoshop. Okay, so just so you know, this is still not fixable from here, but here you can tell whether it's a good enough photo to move on with. Okay, so Mayuri, you need to share your screen. Let's do that. And everyone save your file where it's at. I'm gonna have Mayuri share. Meanwhile, save. So don't forget to save. And then let's see what your issue is. And then after that, we can take a break. So yes, Mayuri. Okay. So click on your mexico.jpg photo up there in links. Click on it. And there you have all the info. Okay, she wasn't, I'm assuming that was your problem because I'm showing the stuff and you couldn't see it. You need to have the file selected like you just did. Was that your question? I can't hear you at all. I just made an assumption that that was your question.
Diana, I need help also.
Okay, so Mayuri, if you want to speak to me, you need to unmute yourself. If you're done, if that was your question, then we're done. But if not, you need to speak or write on the chat because I don't know what you're trying to ask me. Hold down the space bar to speak. I have a feeling that was your question, so I'm going to stop your sharing. But if it's a different question, then you'll now can find the way to write on the chat. Patricia, what's your question? Share
I'm
your
going to
screen.
share the screen.
Yeah.
And I did download the picture, but for some reason it doesn't go to InDesign.
Okay.
I file, place, right?
Mm-hmm.
File, and then I have
Up places up.
right
Yeah,
here.
place. Yeah, go find
And
wherever.
then Mexico right here.
No, because you're going to Google. Are you in VDI? You don't need to download.
Yes, I'm DVI.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Mexico right there, right? And then open.
Uh-huh. Oh, you have the issue of needing to reset Google Drive file stream. So
Okay.
say okay
Okay.
to that and go to the right and do that little arrow. Move, remember the Google Drive file stream, not that. Go to the bottom right. Let me request remote control because this is where it's harder to explain. So go here to this little arrow on the bottom right there.
I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, did you give me permission? No, I said request remote control. You need to say okay
Ah,
You need to say yes.
I
Did you
don't
say
see
yes?
it anymore.
I'm gonna press one more time.
So approve.
Approve. Okay. So now down here, this little arrow down there, bottom right, click on Google Drive file stream, disconnect and reconnect. Whenever I'll let you do it because it's very hard. And the remote control works to point things out, but it is not a good. So can you do that yourself?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you.
disconnect and reconnect. You don't need to close anything. Just disconnect and reconnect. That's all. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. So guys, let's take one more thing before we take a break. Mayuri is asking me to let you in on the other computer. I can't let you in until you connect, and I have to see a way to admit you in. Mayuri, there's nothing, you need to connect through Zoom, and then I'll see you as in the waiting list and let you in. Okay. All right. So Veronica needed some help. I'm going to give you a hand. Everyone take a break. Let's take 15 minutes. It's 2:42. So that would be 2:58. Someone here who's good at math, correct me. Is that 15 minutes? I think so. And maybe Veronica, we can just take 5 minutes to do our work. That'll work out, and you and I will get 10 minutes. Okay. See you guys. It's break time. All right. So Veronica, want to tell me where you're at? Share your screen. Okay.
Can you hear me again?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So
Ay, voy a comerte un pan.
I'm
Wait. Say that again.
It's Control-0. No, it's Control-9. Oh.
Control-0 fits it in the screen, and then Control-, tap minus a few times if you want to see the whole thing.
Yeah. Here, I don't know why it's showing that way.
Oh, okay. Because you have facing pages. So go to File, Document Setup. I was showing this to other people when you were having your connection issues up a bit down, almost at the bottom.
Oh.
And then over there, when it gives you, what happened? Document setup, yeah. Yeah. Now see the choice facing pages, turn that off.
Okay.
And then say
It was
okay.
something super simple, but I didn't know how to do it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, you'll see it once we get a longer document why that is set up, but right now we don't need it. Anything else?
Yeah,
The rest seems okay.
Because I was able to add the picture, and it was, I fortunately used it a couple of minutes before to save the documents. So it was saved. So
it was saved. So that's cool. When you dropped, you saved. So now can you grab your photo of your picture and see how it's not touching the bleed? Make sure the left, like click and drag it so that it's left, the bleed, the red lines. Yeah, keep going up and left. Yeah, when it snaps to that, let go. Now that's the right place for it. Okay, save your file again. That way, if anything happens over break, you're safe. Everyone who still can hear me, save your file so that if anything happens during break.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there you go, Mayuri. I've let you in now. And we're gonna take our break. So I'm gonna stop recording for a little.
Just like,
sorry. So do you want to share your screen? I can help you, or you just need to open up again? Like the.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, your screen, your the one that has no sound, but you shared your screen was fine, right? It's just that you couldn't speak. So now, are you still fine now that you have audio, or is there something not working?
So now the Chromebook is back to working, but sometimes it just suddenly like turn it off.
Well, I've heard say that some of the Chromebooks need help. You can call, I mean, is it yours or is it one that the school gave you?
It's the school.
Yeah, I've heard I was talking with them the other day saying that some people were getting ones that, you know, or they're running into trouble, or they're not working, or they are working fine and then they start working, call the school again and have them give you another, you know, switch.
Okay.
So don't just sit there with a bad computer. Some people just got bad ones, or they went bad because they've been used so much and they are, you know, relatively cheap computers. So,
Okay,
all
thank
right.
you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
see you later.
All right, I'm back. Is everyone else trundling back to their computers? Give me a second here. All right, so hopefully you're all there. I'm looking at the time. Okay. So I have, oh my God, my mind boggles at everything that's been going on this week has been crazy. But anyway, I have a managers meeting after this that starts at 3:30, but we don't finish till 3:45. So today I can't stay behind to answer questions because I'm already going to be 15 minutes late to the meeting. But it's good. It's an important meeting because they're actually solving some issues that we teachers have. So I certainly don't want to miss out being part of that. But just warning you, because usually I stay behind, answer questions. So ask me your questions during class, because once class is over this time, I got to sign out and sign in.
Go early. You could
What's
let us
that?
go early. You could let us go early if you want to be on time to your meeting. I wouldn't mind.
It's true.
I'll get tired on Friday.
I always feel like there's so much I want to teach you guys that I never feel like there's enough time. So it's like I hate
and I shouldn't
keeping
speak.
you on
I don't
any
need to
time.
speak for everyone. You know,
No, that's
the
fine.
other
No, I
people really
appreciate
want
that.
15
I
minutes.
appreciate that. It's fine. You know how meetings are. The first 15 minutes might be important or not. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave 5 minutes early and then I'll make it up to you guys by giving you 5 minutes less break or something. It's just that since I've been on all day, sometimes what I'll do is I'll give less break, but today I used a bit of it with one and then I needed a bit of a break. So anyway.
Be kind to yourself.
I know.
You work so hard. Thank you.
This week I've had 8 meetings outside of all my teaching hours. And then last week I only had 1 meeting. So it's like, you never know how the week is going to go.
Well, it looks like you're getting sun somewhere. You look tanned or something. Are you?
Yeah.
You're a hiker.
It's the warm. I'm a hiker and a tennis player and a walker. And yeah, I'm outdoors.
Good.
Okay, guys, I'm going to share my screen. Thank you for being interested in my well-being. But I only take care of myself because my husband forces me. So that's really good in that sense, because he's the one who says, ooh, let's go out and play tennis. And I'm like, okay, let's go out and do this. Okay. So left to my own devices, I just kind of sit and work. So
anytime I'm ready for read or anything.
Or read. I'm a bookworm. Okay, guys, I'm sharing my screen now. So whenever I'm not working and I'm procrastinating, I'm reading. So it's a fun way to procrastinate. Okay. So we were talking about these linked files and how to find out information about what they're ready to be printed. And yes, this photo is ready to be printed. In fact, it has more information than I need. So I could, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. Once you do this handout, I could have you guys resize it in Photoshop to the right size, right? And we're going to learn how to do that. But today I want to keep focusing on InDesign for a little bit longer. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to make this fit the right size that we need to fit. So there's 2 ways to do that. The first way to do that, I'm just going to teach you to get rid of this photo. So make sure that you're still in selection tool. Select this box in case by now it's been deselected, and then hit the delete key because you want to get rid of the entire thing. If there's any frame or something left over, then you didn't do it right. And now we're going to bring it in again. So there's one way to fix this is to bring it in again. And by now this will be in the right place. So it's easy to bring it in again. Hit open. And this time, don't just click. Rather, when you click, you hold down your mouse and you keep dragging. And notice that it'll drag only in one proportion, which is going to be the portion of the photograph. And when you try to set it down, it won't be good. It'll either be too small or too big. You know what I mean? Because the proportion of this photo is not the same as the proportion of 4:6. So you're going to have to choose either to have less photo, which is never an option, or to make it bigger and have some leftover. See how my image now has gone beyond, but it's important that I'm going up to the bleed from the top and to the bottom. I'm going to the bleed. So I'm stopping here where the bottom of my image attaches to the bottom bleed. And as you can see, I have a little bit of leftover photo to the right. So once I let go of my mouse, there's my image. How's that going? Did it work for you?
Tiana?
Yes, just
Right. How did you delete the photo before you put it back in again?
So as long as you're in the selection tool, which is right there, then just click your box and hit the delete or backspace key on your keyboard.
Oh, yep, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, no. And then you, when you go place it, the important thing is where you start from, and you start from putting your mouse, and in your mouse, it's going to be perfect. It's going to snap. It's going to do this thing. As long as you're near enough, it's going to snap to the line. And then what does matter is where you let go. So you're going to let go when you're as well as you can be. The bottom of the image is at the bottom of and then you let go. For those of you who are comfortable with the conversation of resolution, you know now that I have too much resolution in this photo. But for the rest of you guys, you'll learn more about it after you do the next handout. So this is Control-0 so that we can zoom into the screen now. And then I add a little Control- to that to give me some gray around it for this explanation. So is everyone here with me? Did I lose someone? Someone need a hand? Nope. Okay. So herein the problem. I already told you, now you don't see the white anymore, right? The white that told us was our trim line. Now the lines that we have are these three. We have the bleed line, which is red. We have the trim line, which is this black line, and this is our margin. Remember, the margin is where we can't put text or important things. Well, let's see. Is this vase important to this photo? Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say it is. And the trim over here is going to cut off a little bit of this thing. And the bleed is not. But ideally, what we need to consider is that if this is a trim line, you might have a great operator on the printer, or a guy who is learning the job, or someone who's had a few too many pints of beer. And the cut might go over here and give you a bit more of that belly of the jar. Or the cut might end up over here and cut off this chunk of the jar. That's why we have some safety here. So you can't assume that the cut will always be along the trim line, right? So to see what's really going to happen here, visually, it's hard to tell. There's so many lines. How good is it or isn't it? One good thing to do is to hit the W key on your keyboard. And this is showing you only the trim line. When you hit the W again, then you're seeing all the lines. So notice the margin disappears, so we don't have to bother seeing it. The trim line is where the image cuts off, and I don't see the bleed nor the extras. So all I see is that my trim line, if it were to be cut correctly, is going to already take a little bit off my jar. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
So this is probably not the most appropriate positioning for this photograph. Yeah. Now, what I want to do is see maybe all this leftover image can go over onto the left side because I have a lot of space here, instead of having that leftover bit of the image be over here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm gonna, with my move tool again, the only thing I always want you guys to keep avoiding is this center spot. I don't want you to touch any of the center spot. I want you to be where the arrow is black, which is everywhere except for that center spot. And that's going to help us move the whole thing, frame and image. We're going to click and drag left so that now I'm letting go when my bleed touches this edge. Does that make sense? So I'm going to undo
Yeah.
and I'm going to grab and drag it until my image is to the best of its ability in this edge. So what I'm having to cut off is over there. So now I'm going to hit the W, and that's better, right?
I have a question on my pointer, or what's it called? Select has a little black thing attached to it, a little icon that looks like, it looks like that little
Yeah.
rectangle with
Yeah,
dots.
you might have another, you might have picked up the image twice. Click again to see if another image drops down.
No,
No?
no.
Okay, so then show me your
Mine.
screen. Show me your screen then.
Oh,
Okay, you guys go and meanwhile play with your W on and off to help you see the trim line and not see it, to just get a feel. Move the photo around a bit to see what I mean about having it be ready. Share your screen, Francis, please.
See my pointer has this black.
Oh, yeah, but that's not an issue right now. If you click and drag, you're fine. Move it to the left and make sure to have it, yeah, like up higher. Yeah, and now let go. Cool, and it's moved. So yeah, that's that icon. I don't know why sometimes some icons appear more than others. I don't know. You're on your own version, or are you in VR or VDI? Yeah.
VDI.
Yeah, but that icon still means the same thing. Actually, yeah. So
Another question.
yes.
I don't have the red line. I just have the blue line around the.
Okay, so go up to File, Document Setup, and check and see if under bleed, if you put 0.125 inches.
Oh, I meant, okay, under bleed, I have 0.125.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, and you don't see that if you hit W and then hit W again, you don't see it?
No, no, I don't see it.
Let me see if you have any guides or grid. You're showing your bleed. Okay, so go ahead and share your screen then.
Okay.
Because
screen.
how's it going, guys? Is this exciting? Are you learning a lot?
Yes.
Or is it like, oh, so boring?
Oh,
Not boring, but just challenging.
Tedious.
To follow.
It's learning. It's not like, woohoo, look at all this awesome stuff I'm creating today. I had a Photoshop class like that today. There's a lot of results. I'm not seeing your screen yet, Alan.
And I'm using a different computer, and it's not letting me.
Oh, it's probably asking you for permissions.
Yeah, I have to.
It's not hard. Read out what you're saying and I'll tell you what to do. Read out what you're seeing. You're seeing something about you need to
Okay, let me
security.
start. Share screen. Okay. Okay, when I click on share, allow Zoom to share your screen, open system preferences,
Okay,
security and
that's
privacy.
good. Okay, so now you're seeing the security and privacy thing, right, in front of you?
I'm seeing,
okay.
sorry?
Say okay or yes to open security and privacy.
Okay.
And then you'll be seeing the operating system security and privacy settings. You have a window there on the right that you need to scroll down and to see the word Zoom, and there's a checkbox that you need to click on
I
to check
see.
on it.
Right,
Check it on.
okay. Okay.
Good. Now you can leave that window and go and screen again, share, and this time it'll let you.
Okay. But it wants me to leave the meeting to reset.
Just don't leave, say quit or cancel or whatever the
Cancel.
option is not, and then go and
Okay.
share your screen and it'll work.
Okay, now go back to share. This one.
Perfect.
Okay, but not. But I have two screens.
Yeah, you'll have to go back to your share again. Now it's up on top.
Oh,
And
wait.
it said, now go say new share and then
wait.
choose your other
I
desktop.
think this is, I'm not sure it's worth your taking the time.
No,
because it's a lot of trouble.
it's all right.
Because I have,
Alan, it's okay. Go up with your mouse to the top where it says sharing my screen, the big green button.
yeah,
Click on new share
you share.
and now choose the window that's showing InDesign and then say share.
Oh, well, I have whiteboard, iPhone. Well, it's just desktop one.
And then share again.
But I have, I have two different computers going. So InDesign is on a separate computer.
Oh, that's different. That we can't do anything about.
That's too complicated to fix.
So then you need to share from that computer. Is that computer not, you're only here once, right? Yeah. So next time, whatever computer you guys are doing InDesign on, that's the one that needs to be in the Zoom so that when you have problems, you can share. So unless you can move your other monitor and point it towards your computer, like if it's, some people can do that easily and show me your screen a little bit.
I could do that.
Sometimes that works. You have to take the blur off.
It's going to be in focus or something.
Yeah, you're going to have to take the blur filter off.
Take what off?
The blur filter off.
Oh, I have a blur filter. Okay, let me see how to get rid of that.
As you guys can see, I have been through everything when it comes to seeing computer screens because I know the answers to just about every option. This is, for better or for worse, what a year worth of teaching on Zoom does you. I don't need to see what he's doing to know what he needs to do. All right. Oh, well. Okay. So go down to where you have, or up to where you have your where it says video.
It's still
to turn video on or off. You see where it says video to turn video on or off? Click on the little arrow next to it and choose virtual background and then say none to the blur.
Video. I don't see that.
All right. Do you see next to where you mute yourself that you say mute and turn video on and off?
No, I'm in settings.
Yeah. So now in the virtual
turn
backgrounds, say none to blur.
Waste time. I don't see any option to say none to blur. Oh, turn my video when joining a meeting. That's not the right. Oh, maybe
so that you're not in the settings, you're not in virtual backgrounds.
Okay.
So did you hear where you have to go? Listen to me. You know where you turn the, when you turn the videos on and off? You know how to do that because you do turn your video off a lot. Yeah.
I know. Oh, that's yeah.
Okay. So there's a little arrow
Choose
right
virtual
next.
background. Okay,
Yes.
none. Okay, I've solved that.
Perfect.
problem.
Okay, now turn the screen so I can see your monitor.
Can you see it?
Okay. You got to speak so that I can see it. Okay. So I'm seeing you now. So what was the question?
Okay, well, now I'm showing, I wasn't seeing, oh, this is your screen.
No, this is you.
Well, that's fine, but well, now let's see.
So I see the red. Okay. I see what you mean. It's like you have a box. You have a box of white on top of the box. Put your mouse on this box and hit delete. Just delete. Hit the delete. Oh, no. Okay, so no, don't hit delete. I see what's happening. Okay. Your box is above the, yeah, so you need to bring it down so that you don't cover it. See how on the, like, on the, if you move your box under, you see the red line there, see? So you need, oh, I see what's happening. You made your photo the size of your trim. You didn't make it the size of your
I see.
glue.
I made the photo too small.
Yeah. So now hit your delete key, go place again.
Okay.
Okay, and now go back up to file. File place. It's a bit higher up. Quite a bit higher up. Up.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And,
Find the image.
Mexico.
Yeah. And now when you drop your mouse, put the top of that mouse and the corner up higher in between the bleed. So up higher on the bleed. Put your mouse outside on the gray.
Outside.
On the gray, move out.
Oh.
Yeah, on the bleed. So keep going until you touch the bleed. Keep going. Nope.
Oh,
Yeah, you go ahead and do undo again because you didn't know. You can't do that. Go ahead and do undo, Command Z, and bring that in again. The
Okay.
moment you click, you need to hold the mouse down. You need to click and drag. You don't want to just click.
File, place.
Mexico. Place again. And now put your mouse where the tip of your mouse touches the, keep going up so that it's the corner of the red lines. There you go. Now click and drag. Yep.
Oh.
Nope. You did a click.
It's
Okay. One last chance. One last time. We'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll get there. Do it one last time and this will be the good one. File place. Command or Control D.
File.
You place things all the time. I find it easier to just do Command and Control
Okay.
D.
Mexico.
Okay, now this time make sure to remember not to click, but to click and hold down your mouse. So put your mouse first up at the red and before you click, be ready. Okay, now click and hold your mouse down and now drag your mouse out. And I don't know why your image isn't coming. Okay, let go.
¿Cómo les fue?
There.
Well, I do have.
Yeah, it ended up being, it's okay. I'll help you fix it now. But it ended up, no, you don't want it. What you're doing right now to trying to fix it to the bottom means that you won't have bleed at the top. So move it up so that it's still fixed at the top. And then like you need to have your image start at the bleed at the top. Like you moved it down with pixels or with something with the arrows. So you have to keep it so that that touches. Yeah. At the top. And now the problem is that you let go a bit too soon. So the bottom isn't fitting. But you know what? I'll teach you how to fix it now. Just keep watching. I'm going to stop your
Okay, then.
Oh, you're not sharing. That's true. You're actually not sharing. I'll turn around and I'll show people. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys now. And here we go. All right. So guys, I have a request not to be scared away by today's class. I can see the glazed eyes that some people are having, and it's just a lot of technical stuff today instead of the va va voom. Just be with it. This that we just did today with all the technical stuff is identical for all three. You've done it now for InDesign. It's the same for Illustrator, the same for Photoshop. It's how you set up a document that I have kind of avoided working on until now. And you've learned across the board what bleed means, what all these things mean. And it's in the future, next time we set something up, it'll work. But now one request I do have, and this isn't, I know some people don't know how to do something, but when I say go here and fix this here, everyone keep an eye on and attention, because the same question was asked about 7 times as to how to change the document settings. And I had to say file document setup. And for some people who got it right the first time, to have to repeat the same thing 7 times is for them a bit too much. I don't mind the repeating, but I also don't want people to drop out of the class. So ask me all you need to ask me. Don't fall behind, but also keep your ears and eyes open. I know it's easy, especially if your computers are off, to be multitasking and doing other stuff. And so it's hard when, because of multitasking, I have to repeat the request 7 different times. Now, if it's computer issues and whatnot, yeah, we're suffering through that, and we're all going to be patient with that. But try not. My only request is try not to multitask during the active class time. That's all. Other than that, if you're having an issue, please definitely ask the question, and that's the way it goes. All right. So here's my screen. Now, what happened to some of you guys? So if you got to the same place I got, and you have the photo where if you hit W, it's perfectly good on the trim, everything, you see everything and hit the W is gone, then that's good. But some of you might have ended up like Alan just did. And since he's bravely showing me his screen, but the rest of you might not, it's possible that you ended up with a photo that is too big or too dry and not fitting the right place. See what I mean? So let's assume that that's what happened to you. So now let's, this is the other part of InDesign and all these programs that is important, which is this box that we so painstakingly moved and placed and changed and whatever is considered it's holding our photo. It's a frame. You know how on a wall the frame holds your photo, right? If you put a photo on a wall, it's in a frame, or unless you have it with thumbtacks on, but you know what I mean. So basically a frame holds the image inside of it. These handles here are the frame that hold this image. So watch, I'm going to grab this frame and I'm going to make it smaller. And what happens is my photo doesn't get smaller, my frame gets smaller. It's like suddenly I bought a landscape frame and my photo was, 4x6, but my frame is long and thin. And so a lot of my photo doesn't fit. See what I mean? It's not affecting my photograph. If I try to fix the frame and make the frame bigger, now my frame is bigger than the photograph and my photo is still sitting in there. And if I move this to the left and to the right, I keep changing my frame, my photo is still out there. I am not changing the size of my photo. I'm just changing the size of my frame.
You're just cropping?
There are two. One thing is, no. I mean, I guess, yes, you're cropping. You're right. You're cropping. That's actually right. You are cropping without intending to crop. You're changing the size of the frame. Imagine you have an 8x10 frame that you bought at a store and your photograph is only 2x1. Then you have a small photo and a huge frame, a lot of white around it. In this case, it's the other way around. We have an 8x10 photo and you bought a little frame, those that hang in Christmas trees, and you've got too much photo for the tiny little frame, which is what's happening now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's two separate things. One is the frame, so you can make the frame be the exact size you want, but that doesn't affect the photo. So now how do we change the size of the photo, right? So watch.
Fitting.
If I, what's that? Say
Fitting.
that I want to go ahead and make your frame this size, you guys. Make it really small. Like you're only seeing this little bit. Okay. Now let's click away so that we have nothing held on, because I want you to really focus on what's about to happen and watch. I'm going to change from the black arrow selection tool to the white selection tool. Some of you guys who are an illustrator know the big difference between these tools. You need to be an illustrator to have known that. In Photoshop, we don't make a distinction. But in Illustrator and in InDesign, the black selection tool is one thing, the white direct selection tool is another. So watch what's going to happen. Just watch me. I'm going to click the same thing that I was clicking on before. And this time, what I'm doing is I'm actually moving the size of the photo. I am making the photo appear or disappear because I am changing the size of the photo. Now notice that my frame is this blue line. And now I'm putting this outside of the photo. And so I'm seeing, see what I mean? So there are two separate things. One is moving the photo. The white direct selection tool moves the photo, and the black selection tool moves the frame. So if I click,
like resizing, you can resize it.
Yeah, but since I'm moving it willy-nilly, I have resized the photo in such a way that I've distorted it because I'm resizing it and I'm squinching it. See that thing that used to be a big fat frame now is like a Greek urn. Now I'm stretching it out in the wrong way. And now it's becoming, kind of, how do you call it? Splayed sideways. Distorted, yeah. So whenever you move the photo, you need to keep the shift held for it to constrain the proportion. So I'm gonna Control or Command Z a bunch of times until I get my photo back to being normal, because I tried so many of these that I kind of lost the shape of it, right? So I'm doing Command Control Z. This is like history back. And now this time I'm going to hold down the Shift key. And now when I move this, I'll make it smaller. Oh, by the way, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. I have the wrong arrow. Okay. So here's the thing. Now I'm holding down the Shift key, and no matter that I make it bigger or smaller, it's always proportional. It's still that same image. See what I mean? So now there's the frame that holds the, there's the frame that holds the image, and then there's the image itself. They're two different things. Now,
Where did you constrain proportion?
Hold down the Shift key and hold a corner and pull it in and out, and it's constrained. Now, since we have all at this point, and I can't see what you're doing, changed so many times in and out and in and out, who knows what you are actually seeing anymore? Like, you might at this point be seeing the image very distorted. You might have gone all the way back to the right thing or not. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to get rid of this right now. But be careful. If you are selection tool, not be careful. Notice if you're in the white selection tool and you select, what you're selecting is just the photo. When you hit the delete key, hit the delete key with the white selection tool. What you just got rid of is the photo. If you still have a blue box, that's your frame. It's like you put the photo in the trash because you messed it up so much, you're going to have to go print a new one, but you still have the frame that you purchased it, I don't know, Aaron Brothers or whoever, wherever else that you want to photograph, get your frame. This is two different tools. One moves the frame around, and this one moves the interior part of the frame. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If there was anything yet more confusing, this is it. This is as confusing as it gets. So find a way to delete everything. If you were in the white selection key and you hit delete, then you only deleted the internal. So then you still have to delete the box. So select the box and with a black selection tool, and now hit the delete, and that'll deselect the frame. If you ever wanted to confirm that there's two parts to this, it's because you have to delete twice, one for the frame, one for the photo. Now, had you just deleted the frame, it would have deleted with what it holds, which is the photo. So two would have been deleted at one time. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
This is, I know this is confusing. I beg you, this is what I really beg you, because unfortunately, since we're going into spring break, you might by next Friday go, oh, that was too complicated. I don't think I'm going to take that class anymore. This, I wish, wasn't the end of today, because it truly is the most confronting part, to see the in and outs of the frame. It gets, from here on, it gets much easier. Are you gonna swear to trust me on this one and come back in 2 weeks? After this, it just only goes uphill versus downhill. Okay?
I trust you.
All right. So now, did you all get rid of that photo that we've been moving in and out of so carefully? Okay, so let's go ahead and bring it in. Thank you. Let's go ahead and bring it in one final time. And this time, we're going to do it by first creating a frame for us to drop in the photograph. So it's just a different way to bring it in, which is down here. Go to the tools and keep going down, and you'll see that on the bottom under this pencil, you have something called the frame tool. Then you have a rectangle tool. There's a rectangle tool and there's a rectangle frame tool, right? The frame is that which holds something. Yeah. So go ahead and click on the frame. And now watch, I'm going to draw a frame that goes the same exact shape as the red bleed line. So I'm going to click and hold down and draw a frame that fits exactly. Basically, when I'm done with it, I'm hiding the red bleed line because I'm putting this blue frame and letting go. And my frame is exactly right, the size the photo has to be. Up until now, we were working with the size the photo was. Now we're saying, you know what? I just want the photo to fit this spot. And we're going to have to make that photo fit this spot. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yep.
Did this work? You made a frame? It's usually easier to work this way because usually you have a shape that the photo has to be. Not usually can you say, oh, I'm going to make it 4x6 or 4x7 and 5x7. You kind of know the photo has to be. So by having the pre-made frame, now when you drop the photo in there, let's go ahead and say File, Place, and make sure that your that your frame is selected in case you for any reason deselected it. Select the frame because now you're going to say, please photo, drop yourself into this frame. So you're going to say File, Place. You're going to find the good old Mexico photo one last time, and you're going to say Open. Now, this time, the frame is the size we need it. The photo just needs to be fit into it because the photo is bigger. See what I mean?
Mhm. Yes.
But at least we have the right frame. This is what should be. So now let's work with what's inside. Let's work with what that frame, what's inside that photo, which is the frame. Sorry, not the frame, with the picture. So let's go and click on our direct selection tool right there, right? The one that is the internal one. And some of you who have a bigger computer available might see the choices in here. I don't see the choices in here right now. So I'm going to have to go to, let me see where it hides when you don't have the choices. 1 second. Object, here it is under Object, Fit. So I'll show you, depending on how big your screen is, you have the options available up there. But for the rest of us, whom right now it's not showing up, then go to Object, Fit. And you see that you can fill the frame proportionally, or you can fill the content. So the frame is the box that holds it, and the content is the picture itself. Or you can say fit frame to content or fit content to frame. These are not good because these will distort your image. So you want to go to these. So we're going to go ahead and fill the frame proportionally, the top choice. Click on that.
It works.
And that made the photo fit to the best of its ability. It's fitting the frame. Okay. How's that going, you guys? Now, remember I told you a few times to avoid that little circle? It's because at first I wanted you guys to understand more about the difference between the frame and the image. But when you have this tool, the white selection tool, that doesn't exist. See that white circle here doesn't exist. That only appears when you're holding on to the black selection tool. So everyone go click on the black selection tool. And notice that with a tool that does show up, and look what happens. When it does show up and you click in the black selection tool, which is only for moving frames, remember? It allows you from just this little area to move the content. So I can click, and it's kind of like a quick access to the white selection tool. I can move my content in or outside of the frame if I'm holding that little circle. Okay, so not to make things more messy, but I'm going to move my photo so that all my photo, make sure that there's photo touching your bleeds. And as long as you have photo touching your bleeds, you're fine. So once again, my photo is now overlapping just right over there and leaving leftovers over here. So I have more space for my my vase not to be cut off by my trim line. So anyone for whom the lines don't seem to coincide somewhere, for whom this is not working, can you speak up? And by the way, let's go ahead and say save, control save, or command save, command S or control S, or file save. Is there someone for whom this is not working? All right, so this got a little bit tedious, but and get a lot more practice in this. But once you went through the first one, next week we're going to be placing a lot of images and it'll become like finally like, oh, second nature. Let's just really quickly, in order to just get some other stuff handled, let's go and place, let's say file place, and we're going to place a logo. File place. By the way, make sure you're not selecting a box, because if you're selecting a box, when I say file place, it'll replace this box. It'll replace this photo. So click away so that no box is selected, okay? And say file place. And then inside the folder called postcard, if you double click, I have something called a pencil logo. Yeah. Go ahead and say open. I didn't show you, by the way, I'm sorry, I went too fast, but this is an Adobe Illustrator file. Remember I told you we bring in things from Illustrator? This is an Adobe Illustrator file. So I'm going to go ahead and when I'm ready to drop this logo here, I'm going to find a good spot for it. And right now, I'm just wanting us to drop a logo. I don't really care where. So I'm going to drop it up there. And since I just clicked, it came in all its big glory, so to say, right? It came in as big as it can be. This time, I know that if I want to change it and I just move the frame, nothing's going to happen, right? I'm going to see more or less of it, but I already know that the frame isn't going to work to change it. So that if I need to make this bigger or smaller or move it around, I have to be on the inside arrow. And then I can hold down Shift key and make the logo smaller. So it's the inside arrow, hold down the Shift key and make the logo smaller.
Deanna?
Yes?
I don't have the logo pencil like the one you have. Can I share my screen?
No, if you don't have it, is because are you on VDI?
Yes.
Okay. So in VDI, in the new downloads folder, where we got Mexico from,
Yes.
if you go up, there's a folder there called postcard.
Yes, I did.
You double click there and you brought it in and you still don't have it, then yeah, I just wanted to make sure you brought in the right thing. Okay, so go ahead and share your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, so it's, go ahead and get the frame, get the black arrow and pull it out because I think it's there. It's just bigger. Let's see. Yeah, it's there. You just dropped it in humongous. See that? So go to what we said about fit, make your box smaller again because you made it big, and then fit frame. Yeah, click on that and make it smaller again. Well, go ahead and say object, fit frame proportionally. Up, fitting, two up. Yeah. Fit frame proportionally. So now since you made your, yeah, click on that. Since you made your frame much bigger, now you have, you know how when you stretch out your frame, and I said don't, but so now the logo is really big. Go ahead and go up and say fill Yeah. Click on fitting. Yeah, go ahead and make your box smaller. Make your frame much smaller. Make your frame. Yeah. And oh, you have the choices up there. Look, you have you're not on VDI, so you have, go up to your mouse to your ribbon instead of having to go to object. You have the choices up there in your top of your screen. Moved, yeah, auto fit. See the word auto fit. Move up to those icons that are right above where your mouse is, and now move to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. No, that's left. Right, there we go. So those are all the icons for auto fit. See, and fit to the, like if you hover over all of those, click on that. Don't do auto fit. Yeah. Move in the icon that's right above that auto fit. Yeah, the icon that's right above auto fit. Right above auto, maybe you have Zoom stuff and you're not seeing it, but right above that auto fit, you have an icon. You were hovering over the word auto fit before. Yeah. Auto fit, yeah. Now, right above that, there's an icon. Move up like half an inch. Maybe you have the Zoom controls in the way. Yeah, when people don't see what I'm saying, you're right there, but right above that, yeah, and no, don't stop. Don't. Oh yeah, I'm seeing your controls. Move, go to where it says, yeah. Here, let me give me remote control on your computer. I'm requesting remote control.
Okay.
Okay, so whenever your controls are getting in the way, you can grab them. Like you can go up to where you see these controls. You can grab them from the black area and drag them out of the way a little bit. Like you have to do it from your, now I'm doing it from the wrong. Now I'm just going to move your Illustrator, which isn't what I was trying to do, but never mind. See these icons here?
Yes.
This is what I was trying to get to. This is the film frame proportionally.
Okay.
But you're still, and now that's the fit frame proportionally. And so now you're able to get the content to fit correctly. See what I mean?
Yeah.
This is equivalent to what in VDI, we don't have these little ones. We don't have the space guys. Remember I told you that if you have more space, you have them. These are equivalent to object fitting, fitting, fill frame, and content proportionally and frame proportionally. All of these are these icons. Okay, it's just that she has them right there because she has more space. Whoa. Oh, what did I do?
I'm on VDI though.
What?
I'm on VDI.
Yeah, but your screen is all stretched out and you have space. But mine, I try to demonstrate things on a small screen and so you can't see it. Okay, I'm stopping your sharing because you got it. All right, guys.
Can you show us how to move it around?
Time is running
Deanna's got to go.
short. I have to go. So yeah, so you guys, we're gonna save this where it is. Say file, save. Okay, we're gonna leave it where it is. If to move it around, just use your black arrow key and grab this and just move it around. Okay, so that's all you need to
the
do.
black arrow.
The black arrow key disappeared or the logo disappeared?
It's like you just move, just the frame moves around. And then the image doesn't move.
Not if you're in the black arrow key, then everything moves together. If you're in the white arrow key, then you move out the image and it disappears and you've got them separated. See, now it's out of the way.
White.
Yeah. So anyway, play around with
Thank
that.
you.
There's a way to make this simpler. I'll show it to you guys in a simpler way next 2 weeks from now. I'll send you an email that I want you guys to read the handout, and then I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Make sure to save out. Make sure to save out of everything. Like save before you close, and then sign out of everything before where you disconnect your stuff. Okay, just so that everything closes correctly. All right.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Have a good
Remember, at
one.
the end, don't quit. That's the thing I'm trying to hold on to.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm like saying
System
to
preferences.
remember how to close it right. What was it?
Go to the bottom right corner where there's the little up arrow, the little
Oh,
little,
bottom right. Thanks. Yeah.
and then when you click that, it takes you to, you click on the Google Drive
Google
icon.
Drive. Yeah.
And then when you get to the Google Drive icon, go to the preferences. There'll be like the little gear, like for settings.
Gear settings.
When you click on that, don't go quit, go
Yeah.
preferences, I think it is. Is
Preferences.
that right? Then disconnect account.
Yeah.
Thank
Great.
you so much. That was
Great.
a lot of steps.
Great teacher.
And thank you, because that gave me a
Yay.
chance to talk through it and make sure I had it right.
I
So-
always say the best way of learning something is to teach it. So,
Mhm.
That's right.
all right, I'm gonna drop out, guys.
Thank
Thanks so much.
you.
Have a
You.
great break.
Bye.
Thank you.
too.
Have a good break, everybody.
See you in 2 weeks.